Hello, everybody. Welcome. Hi, hi. Thanks for joining us. Waiting for Kia. They should be on any moment. Hey. Oh. There we go. Awesome. Kia's joining us in just a moment. I finally got it.
Hello.
Hi. I always have such a damn hard time joining on here.
It's a thing.
Good to
I'm
see
gonna
you.
figure out my lights here.
Hi, everybody joining us. We appreciate you coming in. You look great, Kia, as always.
Thank you.
How's your day been?
Pretty good. It's been very busy, but that's the usual.
I hear you, my friend. It is the usual for us, right?
Absolutely.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We are thrilled to be here together and to have you folks join us. So thanks. Today we're talking safe, sane, and consensual kink, which is a lot of fun for both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Brief intro. I am Mia Fine. I'm an ASEX certified sex therapist and educator. I do a lot of teaching, and I have a private practice and a group practice in Seattle, specializes in kink, non-monogamy, and all that fun jazz.
Let's see. Oh, and I am Mixed Pucks Aplenty, also real name Kia, and I have been involved in the sex positive community in the Seattle area now 7+ years as a volunteer, as a educator, event planner, coordinator, all that kind of fun stuff. I am currently on the board for the Gathering Northwest, which is a BDSM and kink camping and education convention, as well as the owner-operator of Diadem Events, which is a femdom education and lifestyle group.
Awesomeness. Yeah. And Kia and I have been friends for going on 5 years, and are really stoked to align in our work together. And thanks again, everybody who's just joining us and has been on the call. So we're going to start with a couple of definitions and then get into our personal experiences and ways to do negotiation, which is in and of itself its own, probably its own podcast. And we've got some really awesome folks who we're probably going to be interviewing too. So, but yeah, are you up for starting with safe, sane, and then I can join in with consensual?
Yes, absolutely. Hi, Pinky Fingers. Hi. So I am just we pulled these definitions from Kinkly and from the Consent Academy, and just wanted to have kind of a basic framework for where we're all kind of coming from in this conversation. But SSC, safe, sane, and consensual, is one of the philosophies surrounding ethical, acceptable behavior in BDSM, kink, and alternative sexuality communities. So safe, sane, consensual, SSC.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah, so safe is the risk, and this is again from Kinkly, the risk of activities that need to be understood by all participants to basically eliminate or reduce risk. So the more risk in the kink, the more the need for explicit consent and enthusiastic consent and whatnot. So greater the risk, the more you need to really do awesome negotiations and whatnot. And then sane is the need to approach activities in sensible and realistic frame of mind. So part of that safe, sane is also, are you using substances when you're playing? Are you, what does the negotiation process look like? Does it go through phases like Key and I are going to talk about later on? And then consensual is that folks are freely consenting to be a part of that activity and are in the state of mind to do that. And the Consent Academy, as Kia mentioned a couple minutes ago, is a, that's actually how I got involved in the sex positive community, was volunteering with the Consent Academy. And they do some really wonderful workshops just on consent and consent in BDSM, and it's pretty awesome. So check out the Consent Academy, and you can learn a lot from them. And also reach out to us, and we've got lots and lots of resources on safe, sane, and consensual kink.
Absolutely.
And how about RAC?
Oh, so then we start getting into kind of more specific terminology surrounding risk, right? That is kind of the cornerstone when we're talking about this philosophy, this idea of safe, sane, and consensual. And so folks decided to kind of take things even further to be more explicit in what they are discussing. And so RAC is one that you may have heard of, and that is risk-aware consensual kink. It is a philosophy governing BDSM activities and behavior. Risk-aware means that all participants know the risks involved in the activity. BDSM activities are not always risk-free. And consensual, of course, means that all participants have freely consented to the activity and that no one has been coerced. Kink refers to alternative sexual activities.
So anything that's not like PIV, penis and vagina, cis heteronormative sex is kink, and that umbrella term. And that's how I tend to teach it, as like an umbrella term, and all that like really fun stuff happens underneath that umbrella. Yeah,
absolutely.
Not that vanilla can't be delicious, because vanilla can also be delicious.
Vanilla is my favorite ice cream flavor. I am always on the search for the best vanilla flavored ice cream.
I don't think I knew that about you, but that's really
cool. That's the thing.
And then we've got PRIC, which is the acronym that stands for Personal Responsibility, Informed Consensual Kink, describing a philosophical view held within sectors of the BDSM community. So it emphasizes that personal responsibility of participants and the individual consent of the behavior after understanding the underlying risk. As a therapist, I have what's called informed consent. And basically, it's an important thing for me to not only go through with clients verbally, but also with them through writing. So folks on their own are sent, some paperwork, read through it, and then we go through it together. But clients have to know really like what they're getting into when they're coming to work with me. Not only am I a pretty sassy AF therapist, but I'm also a sex therapist. And so that also, just like kink, that entails a level of risk, right? I'm going to curse. I'm going to be myself. I'm going to say, things that aren't going to resonate with people because I'm very much a human and sassy as fuck human. And so that informed consent lays that out so that clients know what they're getting into when they're working with me. Same thing goes for kink.
Absolutely. So PRIC is just another it's the personal responsibility informed. It's a variation of RAC. So it's just, again, taking these things and kind of pulling out these more specific ideas.
Absolutely. Yeah. Very specific. Yeah. And the personal piece of it. Thanks for that. Yeah, and we were gonna talk a little bit about safe words and spotlight system. When it comes to safe words, how do you conceptualize safe words in your play? Yeah.
So I've had the same safe words since I understood what safe words were, and my safe word is banana. And that's usually, it's because I hate bananas, so I absolutely hate bananas. Hate the texture, hate the flavor, all of it. It's a whole thing. Mm-hmm. It's a whole sensory thing when it comes to bananas and my distaste for them. But banana has been my safe word that I use. Usually use this in a relationship that is kind of an established dynamic, and then I have a safe word in that established dynamic. For pickup play, which is play with someone that is not my typical partner, meet someone at an event or at a party, and like, I would like to engage in play with you. Usually I will stick with the spotlight system for that, or just a clear yes or no, using instead of using safe words or using even the red light, yellow system, just saying, no, I don't like that, stop, and using, it's not nice to say like using your adult words, but using clear, no, these are not the things, or I need you to stop what you're doing, or can we ease up on that, is usually kind of more of a place I like to come from with like pickup play or someone that I've been playing with, here and there. But in a more established dynamic, having the safe word seems to be a better option for me personally.
Awesome. So two like different dynamics call for different safe words. So it's depending on who you're playing with and what the situation. And it sounds like that's like part of your negotiation is like talking about what are the words and when to use them. And what about when, you can't speak, right? Like what about when you're gagged or there's not the opportunity for you or other people to utilize words verbally?
So, as a top and as someone that's like assisted with a scene, where the bottom, or submissive person having the action done to them is in a place where they cannot speak to make things stop. We've done things that are more physically minded. I was a part of a waterboarding scene where it's clearly this person's not going to be able to talk. They have water being poured down them. So we put keys, a set of keys in each hand, and so when they drop the keys, that's how we knew to ease up. So it was a very visual, loud sound. I'm a person that is very fond of ball gags being involved in my scenes, so it makes it difficult for a person to talk. So usually I'll let a person know that if we'll talk about what is the best way to communicate that you're not enjoying something or you need something to stop right now. And so flipping me off has turned into the please stop that. And because it's just not something that your hands are naturally going to do. Yeah. So, we talk about things that are not things that your body is naturally going to want to do in a scene. Maybe is probably the best way to communicate that. So like when your hands are, what do you do when your hands are tied? Well, there might be like, you need to figure out what those different things are going to be to make things easier for you to communicate. When I do bottom, sometimes I go nonverbal, so I need to remember that there are other ways for me to communicate my displeasure or my I need something to ease up or stop. And that's something that I know about myself personally. So that's me engaging in prick when I am doing negotiations as a bottom, is that I can go nonverbal. And that's something that I need to tell someone that is topping me or doing the action to me, so that I don't put them in a position where they feel like they violated my consent because I went nonverbal. So these are different things that is really, really important when you're doing this negotiation.
Totally. I love that. Haley's laughing. She loves it too. And that's great. So I think that keys piece is like, I've not heard that before. I love that so much. And the flipping off, because you've got to think about that before you do it, right? It's not something like a pinch or a squeeze, which could also indicate like, I want more of this, right? Like that's going really well. Like this feels really good. Flipping off is a whole cognitive, so, and again, we're kind of talking about, these are some things that we could encourage you to also utilize, and could be really fun. So that's really cool. And how about, do you differentiate between soft and hard limits for yourself and in negotiations?
I do, for myself personally, and it's something that I do like talking with bottoms and people that I'm going to play with, what their hard and soft limits are. Because for some folks, it's like, I don't like to be tickled. Well, let's explore that. Okay, is tickling something that can be, is that a soft limit? Is that a hard limit? Now, is tickling something that it's completely off the table, or is it, I like it, but I like it sparingly? I'd rather that be used as something that's more of like a punishment. What is that? Where is the line for certain things? I mean, hard limits for me typically involve, have in the past involved blood. So where blood is completely off limits, no, I don't want to have anything to do with that.
Uh-huh.
And then started engaging with a partner that was really into blood play, and found that with this particular partner in that context, that was no longer a hard limit for me as a dominant, because it was as a dominant, it was a hard limit for me. I didn't want to draw anyone's blood.
Sure.
So I mean, dominants have hard limits too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, and those should be as respected as well, as how far someone wants to push themselves as a dominant versus how far we want to push someone that is in the submissive or in the bottom or receiving position of that. It's, I think, when we're doing when we're talking about negotiations, dominant should also be communicating their hard and soft limits, what's off the table for them personally. It's really important, because we do talk about a lot of these things in which we talk about how bottoms or submissives can be taken advantage of and harmed. But dominants and tops, we're people too. Beautiful. And they can be coerced into things that they may not feel comfortable doing, or may not have the skill set to be doing, and being pushed into things that are out of their wheelhouse as well. So is really, really important. Yes. Yeah. Tops have hard limits too, and tops need aftercare.
That was that was the next thing I was gonna say, was like, you know, as Kia, you're talking about tops having the need for, like, absolutely human beings, right? And for aftercare, you know, for a while there, I didn't know that that tops needed aftercare. I didn't know, and I remember when I learned that, it blew my mind, and it was early enough in my experience with kink as an educator and as a person who practices, and I was like, that makes so much sense. It was just, you don't know what you don't know, right? And so, and a lot of tops also engage in play and don't recognize, hey, I need this too, and does it come in phases? You know, does aftercare come in phases? Because it doesn't necessarily just mean that aftercare, which is the redistribution of basically getting out of the top space or bottom space, subspace, but getting back to like equilibrium. It also could come in phases, right? Do you need to be checked in with your partner like a couple days later? Do you want to know how each other did? How do you feel? A little bit of a debrief. So it can be that half an hour or so afterwards, after the scene, and it can be a couple days later, and everything in between.
Absolutely. Yeah. One of the first times I encountered top drop, I talked to a fellow top about it, because I was just like, I don't know why I feel so crummy. The scene was, okay. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was okay. And she was like, did you get aftercare? And I'm like, no, I did not. She's like, you should be negotiating that for yourself. Especially when I was really new to topping. When I kind of got involved in the scene publicly, I identified as a switch, but I was definitely bottoming a lot more than I was topping, mostly because I wanted to know how all the things felt before I started wielding those things. And it definitely took me a while to own up to the fact that I identify as a sadist. And aftercare for me is part of that, like reminding myself that I am not a horrible human for the things that I just did to this person and got off on doing, right? So it's just kind of this like, it's good for me to just be like, I'm still someone's mom. Like, I'm still someone's mom. I'm still, I'm still the person that is going to bake cookies for their friends and drive in the middle of the night to go drop those off and all that kind of fun stuff, right? Like, so it's really, aftercare is important for both sides, and it should definitely be something that should be a part of your negotiations. And I'm a big fan of reminding folks that your dominants, your tops, they are not machines and they are not tools. They are people. So that's really important.
Thanks for that. You brought up a point. As we're talking about tops and bottoms, I think it's important for us to do a brief definition. A definition of top is a person who is doing something to somebody, and a bottom is a person who's receiving something from somebody else. Those are not the same as submissive and dominant So just so you can have a top who is submissive and a bottom who is dominant. So we can also do another one of these around those definitions, but I just wanted to offer those definitions. Thanks, Gloria. Oh, Gloria's here too. How about negotiation styles? I've been sharing a little bit of what your negotiation styles have looked like these days or have in the past, Kia, and I can share a little too.
Yeah. So I love a good spreadsheet. I love a good spreadsheet. And I found kind of through my online searching a few years back, a really dope yes, no, maybe spreadsheet that's in PDF form. And I love to send it to potential play partners and go over it. Most of the people that I get to that point with where I'm going to be sending this particular spreadsheet to, we're usually negotiating probably some type of DS dynamic or something that's going to kind of have that flair to it. So I like it because I can share it through Google Docs. They're filling out the Google Doc, and I can kind of voyeur and watch them as they're filling out the Google Doc, which is kind of nice too. But also, it's really good to be able to go back and you can ask questions on specific things and just be like, can you please expand on this injury that you have, so I know where, what's off limits and what we can do. And that's one of the things I do like about this particular checklist, is that it does get into things like injuries that you've had, surgeries that you've had, those kinds of things. Those are really important things. Do you take medication that might need to be given or administered during the scene that I might need to know about? Do you have low blood pressure? Do you have poor circulation? If we're getting into bondage and rope, that is extremely important. We're probably not getting into rope if you're hanging out with me, because I am probably one of 10 people in the Seattle kink scene that is not into rope. So we're probably going to be more into the bondagey, leathery type shenanigans. That's kind of my personal flair, but it's good to know those kinds of things. And Top should share some of that information too, if you feel like it's important to you. I have really bad knees, and so depending on the day, I may be a little bit slower than normal. I may need to sit down during our scene. That's kind of important, especially when we look at when we start looking at some of the relationship dynamics that we typically see, like in a dungeon or play space. You'll see kind of an older male dom and a younger submissive. And, as we start to age, our bodies start to do really fun, weird stuff. And, if your dominant takes medication for his heart, you should know that. All parties involved in play should know that. Absolutely. And so it's really nice. But this sheet, I'll put the link up in our on our profile so you guys can access this. I really enjoyed this list, but it has a list of different kinks, and then it says, "Are you experienced?" with a question mark, and so you can answer yes or no, and then your willingness to do said activity. 0 being no, 5 being yes, so everything in between. And then it has a notes and nuance section. This one is 4 pages long. It's pretty dope. I would say it touches on a lot of things. But I've seen some negotiation forms. There's a lovely human that teaches a class on negotiation, and she has a 25-page negotiation thing that she found that that people use. So some people may think that my 4 pages is obsessive. I'm there are people out there that have a lot more pages than I do, and it's really neat because when you get down to the bottom of the sheet, it talks about, do you have any allergies? Especially when we start looking at folks who, this is when people who are vegan, who may not want to have leather toys used on them, this is important for me to know because a lot of the toys in my collection are leather. I've started purchasing more toys that are not made from any animals or and stuff like that because I had a partner that was vegan, and so that was something that even though she loved the smell of leather, she was trying to make that change, and so it was something that I could do as a dominant to be able to offer toys in my play bag that were not. But that's something that someone should note, right? Should note.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you do have little spikes on your shirt.
I do, yeah. Erin, Panera's Library, our friend Erin was just noting it. I do. I was like, I'm gonna do a little bit of a kinky shirt and flare it up a little bit. Thanks, Gloria. Thanks, Erin. I love that vegan point that you made, Kia, and I also think it's super important to have that question of what's going on with your body. Right?
Yes.
Like that being a part of that negotiation, and just as you shared, it isn't just what's going on with your body for the bottom, but it's what's going on with your body for the top as well, right? Like how are your knees doing? I'm diabetic, right? If I'm playing, I'm gonna let my partner know, like, this is what I take care of everything, and chances are we're not like 99% positive things are going to go well, but like what if they don't? Like my partner has to know what to do in case, right? And so that is part of what keeps things safe, sane, and consensual is for me to offer information about how I'm going to take care of myself and how my partner can take care of me should they need to. It just keeps that container so that you can really engage in kink, which is like, it's fun. This is play. It's not real life, right? Get into relational dynamics another day, but like a scene is in a space where you get to play and have a good time. That is why kink exists. It's so that you can have a really, really good time, whatever that means to you. And what kind of mood do you want to set? Midori has a really incredible workshop called Forte Femme, which is where I learned a lot of my negotiation skills and the skills that I teach my clients all the time, because I spend a lot of time actually in sessions teaching about negotiation and the ways to do it, which is so much fun. And actually applies not only to kink, but you can do aftercare after somebody's had an anxiety attack. So I often utilize a lot of the language that kinksters do so well, and the terms and the experiences that kinksters do so well in some of the sessions I have with folks who are vanilla. You can absolutely have aftercare after intense experiences. I'm a mountaineer. I climb big mountains. I totally get mountain drop and I get super depressed for like 4 days afterwards. How do I need to take care of myself, and who are the people I need to surround myself with, right? So that is the same thing as sub or top subspace or top space and that drop. So yeah, I hope that made some sense as to like the
it does make total sense.
Yeah.
No, as a performer, we call it glitter drop in the burlesque community.
Love it.
And but a lot of the communities that I'm involved in outside of kink, there is a lot of crossover where depending on what name people use, that's how I know they know me. But like, there's all these intersections. And I think the biggest intersection of that, where I get to kind of see this huge group of all these people I know from all these different things, is universally has always been Emerald City Comic Con. I see all the kinksters, all the burlesque people, all the nerd people, all kind of all in one place. But like, the drop of adrenaline coming down from things, it's really important. A lot of the things that I do when I have top drop or sub drop are things that I do when I'm having glitter drop. It's like reaching out to those folks that I know, getting my favorite blanket, making sure that I have sushi around. Like it's all kind of the same thing. And it's, I think I would say that me personally, kink has influenced so much of how I communicate with folks that aren't kinky. It's made me a better communicator. Instead of just assuming or filling in the blanks, ... It's allowed me to be able to kind of go deeper into some conversations in the past where I would have just been like, assuming that I know the rest, or assuming this is going to be okay, or just because this thing was okay last week doesn't mean it's okay this
There
week.
you go.
I think that's the great thing about one of the things about negotiation that is really, really key. Say that you negotiate with someone to do a scene in the future. You're like, okay, we're gonna get together. Friday, it's Monday. We're gonna do this scene. Still checking in the day of the scene before you do the scene, because maybe all those things that you negotiated are not going to be possible now.
Right.
Maybe they had a really terrible day, and now the idea of doing sensory play with being blindfolded and tied down is not going to be the thing for them today. Maybe they just need to be rubbed down with bunny fur and told that they're pretty.
Yeah.
Things can change very, very quickly. Or one of the things I'll ask folks, even if we negotiated day of, hey, have you did you eat today, and are you hydrated? And if someone says, I haven't really eaten, I'm not really hydrated, I'm like, we should get you something to drink and we should grab a snack. And we can sit and chit chat for about 30 minutes or so until you're feeling a bit more human. That's important, and that's an important question to ask. And also it's an important question to ask your top too. As someone who is constantly being nagged for not being hydrated by my submissives, I get text messages probably every other hour saying, have you had water today, from my submissives. It's important.
That's really sweet. That's love right there, right? That's
it's
that's
love.
nurturing. Oh, that's awesome. We'll do another one of these our wonderful tea sessions on negotiation. So, because we've got to wrap up now.
Yeah. But can we talk about a couple things before we wrap up?
Yeah. What's on your mind?
So, our next session, like this little mini session, is going to be August 5th, and we're going to be talking about service subs.
Yes.
So, yes, really, really cool. Make sure that you spread the word. We are taking all of these mini casts, is what we're calling them, and they're being kind of uploaded into an Instagram channel specifically for SexualiTea. And the plan is on August 22nd, we're going to be launching our full version of our podcast, and that is actually going to feature the lovely Brick House as our first guest for that. And we'd be at that point be doing kind of these longer, more in-depth podcasts. It sounds like probably once a month is going to be what we'll be doing, but we'll still be doing these kind of mini casts, also so we can touch base with you and kind of get the juices flowing about different ideas and concepts. But part of this launching of this podcast is that we have a burlesque show that is happening as part of that. So we're doing kind of a hybrid of live burlesque that will be visually, you'll be able to watch it from home. And the name of that burlesque show is called No Closet Follies. And this is volume 3. This is the third year that I've been doing this particular show. We have an amazing cast for this show. So definitely visit our page so you can learn more about that, because it's going to be really, really amazing. But it's called No Closet Follies Volume 3. You can find information about that on Facebook right now. And then if you kind of want to get an idea of how I do these digital burlesque shows, or if you're just curious about digital burlesque in general, actually tomorrow we have, I'm doing co-producing an all plus size burlesque show called Between the Sheets.
Awesome.
And so tickets are on sale for that right now. And we have a cast that is highly melanated. We have marginalized folks in our show, people with different disabilities. It's a very diverse show, and extremely sex positive. Burlesque is extremely sex positive, and I invite folks to support that. But the name of that show is called Between the Sheets, and if you visit Puxaplenty here on the Instagram and you go to my link there, you can get tickets for that show. It's only $10, and it's a digital magic. So check it out.
Yay.
Yeah. But yeah, our next little mini podcast that we're going to be doing here on Instagram is on service subs, and I cannot wait to talk to you about that.
I'm so thrilled, and I'm thrilled about tomorrow night too. You're
Yeah,
awesome as always, Kia. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Yeah,
absolutely.
we have a good time.
We're still eating the cookies that you dropped off at my house.
Oh, I know. I dropped him off, and husband made them because you don't want me making any cookies. But he's like a damn good baker, right?
They're so good. They're really good.
I gave him some support as he did it. I threw like the love energy in while he was making them, so I'm
We
glad.
could taste it. We could taste the love. They're so good. My partner was just like, he ate 2 of them. He goes, "These aren't loaded, are they?" I'm like, "They're not."
No.
I'm glad that you're asking now after you've had 2.
I kind of love that. No, those are not loaded. No.
No.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. Kia, thank you for hanging with me and having tea. Folks, feel free to send us messages if there's anything that you'd like us to cover. We've got a lineup of about 10 fun topics, but we always welcome ideas and anything that would be helpful and useful. Kink, non-monogamy, etc., etc. LGBTQ from an intersectionality and queer theory lens is pretty much what we're
absolutely
from. Yay! All right. Well, great to see all your faces, and thanks for the support, everybody.
Yes, we appreciate that so much.
We do.
Yeah, spread the word. Check out our Instagram and follow, because when this podcast actually starts doing its full thing, it is going to be more of this, but like extra juicy. And so we want to make sure that you can collect all the juice. All the juice.
I'll wear more spikes too. I'm all about this.
Yeah,
like half
it's
my
going to be spiky and juicy. There you go. It's spiky juice.
Oh, all right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.